When you hear the words crime boss, many people think of powerful Italian mobsters who often ruled the streets with violence, death, and racketeering. But did you know there was a black woman who once disrupted and flourished in this dangerous underworld, not only taking on dangerous mafia bosses, but also the corrupt police advocating for black rights in a time where few blacks had a voice? Stephanie, aka Madam St. Clair, the numbers queen, feared no human being, a Harlem legend of African descent, born in the West Indies. Here she is being portrayed by Cicely Tyson in the 1997 film Hoodlum, although the film was fictional. Look, we're talking about the 1920s when most African Americans were extremely limited in how they could make money because of white-owned businesses would not hire them. So her rise to fame would be selling drugs on the Harlem streets, eventually amassing enough money to invest in a sophisticated number system, which would allow her to enjoy a lavish and luxurious lifestyle. As a black American, a black woman, in the 1920s, come on man. Back in those days, not too many people saw the value in the number system, which is how a lot of blacks were able to rise up with the numbers game. But after the prohibition of alcohol, the Italian mobsters weren't getting the same amount of money that they used to get from the streets, started drying up real quick. So what they did was move in on a numbers game and started murdering, kidnapping a lot of these black people that were doing so. And they ran a lot of black people who was getting money off of the streets. But Madam St. Clair was not having it. One mob boss in particular, Dutch Schultz, who was a very dangerous man, a very violent and murderous man, she wasn't having it. She went to war with him. She went to straight up war with him. He was launching attacks on her men, her gangs was launching attacks right back. He was launching attacks on her establishments. She was lighting his establishments up the same way. And one of the reasons why she was able to successfully go to war with the Italian mafia was because of her right-hand man, Lieutenant Bumpy Johnson. I'm sure you heard of him, one of the most notorious kingpins that we ever heard of. Her and Bumpy was in the streets getting it in. She was known for her hot temper for anybody who crossed her, including her lovers. Listen, one of her first boyfriends actually tried to pimp her out, but he got stabbed in the eye with a fork. Another boyfriend tried to choke her out after she tried to leave him. Yeah, he ended up dying. He died after she fought back and fell and hit his head on a table. She also became a powerful advocate against police brutality, putting up continuous ads in the newspaper, highlighting what the police was doing in the community. She was also putting up ads running continuously to let black people know exactly how to act if you're pulled over by the police, if they knock on your door. In the 1920s, she was making every black citizen in Harlem aware of their rights as it pertained to the police. What you see what they doing to us right now, you can only imagine that they was lynching black people left and right in the 20s and the 30s. Come on, man. And as a result of her calling out systemic racism as well as police brutality, what did they do in retaliation? They trumped up charges on her. She ended up spending 10 months in jail behind that, but she got right back out and went back to work. Not only did she get back out and go back to work, in retaliation for the police trumping up charges on her, she told on every single police officer that she was paying off in the numbers game, which resulted in a dozen officers being fired. She was also tipping off the police to what Dutch Schultz was doing, and he was doing the same thing to her. It was basically an all-out war, but she was hitting them where it hurts. Dutch Schultz would ultimately be shot and killed by members of Lucky Luciano's crew. But ultimately, the back and forth war with Dutch Schultz was costing her too much, and she ultimately bowed out of the game and turned over her entire empire to Bumpy Johnson, which is how he actually rose to fame. Not too long after that, she would actually go back to jail after receiving a 10-year sentence for attempted murder of her husband. Yeah, he tried to leave her and she shot him. Yeah, that was wrong. But he survived, alright? Just walk it off, my G, put a little bit of Epsom salt on it, wrap it up, you be alright. And after doing her sentence, she would basically live a low-key lifestyle with the protection of Bumpy Johnson. And make no mistake about it, she was still rich the rest of her days. Salute to the Madam, Queen, Stephanie St. Clair, legend. Thank you so much for tuning in, man. I hope y'all hitting that like and subscribe button. This is Care from Life is Lyrical. Peace, love, lyrics.